we are here today in remembrance of Tony Ferguson, one of the most entertaining fighters in the history of the UFC, one of the scrappiest guys that you will ever see again in the UFC, one of the most creative guys that you will ever see in the UFC again. And I just want to pay tribute in the funeral for Tony Ferguson's career, the tragedy of Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson at UFC Abu Dhabi competed against Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa was able to get to his back, sink in a rear naked choke, and defeat Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson got on the mic, told us that he was going to put one glove down and take the other glove back to his wife, discuss it, and wait and see what happens. I just want to go into Tony Ferguson's career a little bit, talk about what he did, what he has done, and what he may do next. Because, as we saw when he was walking out, it's not over. But is it over, Tony? Should it be over, Tony? He threw that glove in. Man, that cracked me up on the broadcast. He's walking down. Camera guy's walking back, and Tony's coming in. Back, going to the back. And he throws his glove out, the one that he said he was going to bring home to his wife. And he goes, "I'm not done. I got more left in the tank. I'm not finished yet." Man, Tony. In his post-fight speech, he said this: "I love the UFC, and I don't want to retire. I don't want to go anywhere else." And he hugs DC. Man. These are great moments. But this guy, I don't know what it is, whether it's like CTE or just his fighter nature. I think these guys are just, some of these guys are just born and bred different. Like, he can't give it up. And I'm worried for the guy, truthfully. Kind of like Volk, man. It's just sad to see these guys. It's like they have to be fighting. They have to be training to have any meaning in their life. And you gotta see, we have to show up for these guys and tell them that life's going to be okay. Because we've seen guys retire and be perfectly fine. They've come back into the sport. They've done bare knuckle, or they've gone over here to another promotion, and they've either gotten in the cage and fighting lesser opponents, or they retire and they get to the commentary, or they get to the desk and they're breaking down fights, being analysts, or they create these YouTube channels, and they're becoming very successful, getting into businesses. Like, Tony's got that in him. He's a hard worker. He's a fighter. I just worry for his sanity and the sake of him, man. I loved this guy for years, but it's just tragic what's going on, man. Here's the finish. Jake Paul hearing Tony Ferguson has been half retired. "Ooh, let me get in there and fight this guy. Ooh, Jake Paul, gonna fight a guy who's 50 pounds lighter than him." Here we go. Here's the walkout. Here's throwing the glove, man. What the heck are you doing, bro? Take it to your wife. Sit down and talk with her. God. Chiesa gets the tap. He submits Tony Ferguson. Me in the living room. Dude, I fell to my knees, man, because Tony was looking good on the feet, man. But let's look at Tony Ferguson's career. Let me pull it up. His career. Dude, the way he was just cutting through guys. Jeez, man. There we go. Tony Ferguson, welterweight, ESPN. Let's pull up. Look at this, dude. Oh, my goodness. Dude, the fights with Rafael dos Anjos, 5-rounder, at altitude, man. The Donald Cerrone finish, the Anthony Pettis fight was fun, man. Just Edson Barboza finish. Dude, the Josh Thompson one goes, I feel like nobody talks about that one, but Josh Thompson was legit for years, man. And Tony Ferguson just went in there and had everything for him. Josh Thompson couldn't do a damn thing to him. The Gleason Tebow fight was fun. Michael Johnson lost in there. But, dude, look at this run, man. Mike Rio, Kukuno, Danny Castillo, Abel Trujillo, Gleason Tebow, Josh Thompson, Edson Barboza, Lando Venata, Rafael dos Anjos, Kevin Lee, Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone. Yeah, that last one was kind of I think it was a late notice kind of thing, man, too. If I remember correctly, or I'm thinking of another one. But this run, man, he went on. Was it the best guys out there in the division? No, but the beatings he was just putting on them was impressive, man. Dude, what a career, man. Easily, if you're a hardcore MMA fan, even if you're a casual fan, this dude broke into the casual media stream just by being himself. The way that they were chanting his name in the crowd in Abu Dhabi, most of them don't speak English. The way that they were cheering and chanting for Tony after he looked like he was going to retire shows you the level of star that he had, and I'm not sure that he recognizes it. Maybe he just recognized it yesterday, he acknowledged it. But man, there's always that image that goes around when he's fighting, the beatings, dude, the damage that he did. Let me type it in, damage. Let's see if we can pull it up. But it's like a collage of all his opponents. Man, I wish I could find it real quick. But just the faces of the guys that he had fought on these win streaks. Donald Cerrone with the big blown out eye. Anthony Pettis cut up, torn to shreds. Kevin Lee looks like he's lost. RDA beat up. Lando Venata, that was kind of a back and forth crazy fight. He looked beat up after their fight. Edson Barboza was beat to shit, cut open, bleeding, blood pouring everywhere, squirting out of his head. Josh Thompson cut in like 5 different places from different elbows. This guy, I gotta find it now. You gotta see this. If you haven't seen this, you gotta see it. Damaged opponents. I can't spell. Here we go. Josh Thompson, Edson Barboza, Anthony Pettis, RDA, Kevin Lee. The Kevin Lee one wasn't awful, but man. Tap, nap, or snap. Yep. That's Tony Ferguson in a nutshell, man. You're either going to tap to the submission, you're either going to sleep, or he's going to snap something. And honestly, in the stand-up, he was the same way. Anthony Pettis tapped out, man. He broke his hand. You're either going to sleep, he knocked out a couple of guys, or something's going to snap in your head where you just can't take it anymore. Because look at these dudes, bro. Look at the beating he put on these dudes. Donald Cerrone's eye here. I mean, dude. Just want to be here, pay tribute to Tony Ferguson. Tell him that everything's going to be okay, bro. Just retire. Your athleticism just can't keep up with your mental acuity anymore. You've got the fight up here. You just don't have the fight in your body, and that's okay. That's just getting old, man. When you lose to Justin Gaethje like that, he wasn't helpless in that fight. He just didn't have it. Justin was just on another level that night. Charles Oliveira sat on him for 15 minutes, had that deep arm bar in on him. Beneil Dariush, boring thing, had what did he have? It was an ankle lock, I think, on him in some fashion. The Michael Chandler one was bad, yes. Punted him in the face. The Nate Diaz thing, he just overwhelmed you. Bobby, you knocked him down, man. You've still got something there, but it's just the athleticism, man. You need the athleticism to keep up with these guys in the lightweight division. Paddy Pimblett's a young guy. He couldn't finish you, sure, buddy. But, just take it slow. Think about what you can do after your fighting career. Maybe there's one more fight left in the tank. Would I like to see him fight somebody of lesser note and retire in America and get that send-off? Heck yeah, man. Let's send him off in fashion. I'd argue he didn't really take any damage. Maybe we get him back in there for the Sphere card, on the main card even. I don't care. You can have him fight Nick Diaz for all I care. But I kind of want to send him off with a win, maybe, if we can do that. If not, that's okay, dude. Get in there, get another big paycheck, He deserves it. The UFC deserves to pay this guy for what he did, stepping in on short notice, pulling through for the fans every which way. Let's go back to that. It's a meme, but it's true. UFC Abu Dhabi. Here we go. The Ninja Turtles meme. This defines Tony Ferguson for a lot of MMA fans. You saw his fights on replay. Maybe you saw him live back in the day. 2016, 2015, 2017 on his kind of come up on that 12-fight win streak. He definitely got me into the sport with that Edson Barboza fight. I had seen MMA for years as a kid, watching it kind of like, oh yeah, this is cool. I'm interested in it. I just wasn't ever a big fan of football, baseball, soccer, anything like that. But the combat sports, man, that had me hooked. But Tony Ferguson was the one that hook with the MMA, line, sinker, caught. That was me with Tony Ferguson, man. This meme, this picture defines me, and I can't imagine it doesn't define a lot of others. He pulled us through some of the darkest moments in MMA. The darkest times in MMA. The Conor McGregor hype, the Ronda Rousey hype. Tony Ferguson was that dude, man. And now, let's finish this image. Let's give him a good send-off. Let's tell him, let's put it out there. Tony, it's okay, man. You're gonna be okay. Let's support him in any way that we can. Pull together for Tony because he deserves it. Tony Ferguson, one of the best of all time, easily a Hall of Famer. The run that he went on is unmatched in terms of what kind of damage and dominance he put in the mental aspect over his opponents. Just beat him down, came forward, took him out. Tony Ferguson will always be a legend.